with regards to taraweh, is it bid'ah to pray more than 8 rak'ah? Now, when it comes to the 8 rak'ah in and of itself, where did this come from? One of the main hadith is a hadith which is collected by Imam Bukhari and Imam Muslim. The hadith is narrated by Abi Salama, in which he asked Aisha radiallahu anha, كيف كانت صلاة رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم في رمضان. So he asked, how was the salah, how did the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم pray during the month of Ramadan? And Aisha radiallahu anha said that the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم ما كان رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يزيد في رمضان ولا في غيره على 11 ركعة. That the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم did not increase during the month of Ramadan or outside of the month of Ramadan more than 11 rak'ah. Now this hadith, we need to understand it properly. Aisha radiallahu anha said ma kana, and we need to understand the Arabic language and the way in which Aisha radiallahu anha used the Arabic language. What was the norm for the people of her time in her area. So when she said ma kana, she didn't mean that the Prophet ﷺ, as is often maybe mistranslated, that he never prayed more than 11 rak'ah, meaning 8 taraweh and 3 witr. Ma kana means, it wasn't something that happened regularly. So for example, nowadays you may say, you may go to a restaurant, you may say, I've never tasted food better than this. It doesn't necessarily mean that you've never tasted food better than this. It's just a figure of speech, if you like. It's the way you would use the English language nowadays. So it was the same for Aisha radiallahu anha. When she said ma kana, it didn't mean that the Prophet ﷺ never prayed more than 8 rak'ah. And we know this because in other hadith, to other issues, he used the same terminology. So for example, in hadith collected by Imam Bukhari, Aisha radiallahu anha says that ma kana Rasulullah sallam, again, ma kana, meaning that the Prophet ﷺ didn't yusabbihu subha duha qat wa inni la usabbihuha. She said that the Prophet ﷺ didn't used to pray Salatul Duha. However, in another hadith in Sahih Muslim, she also said that the Prophet ﷺ كان رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يصلي الضحى أربعا ويزيد ما شاء. That the Prophet ﷺ prayed 4 rak'ah for duha. So we have to understand what she meant when she said ma kana. It didn't mean that the Prophet ﷺ never did it. It was just the way that she would express herself in terms of the Arabic language. This is the first point. So it didn't mean that it's bid'ah. It doesn't mean that it's bid'ah, for example, to pray more than 8 rak'ah. Secondly, a number of scholars say, okay, well, what was the Aisha talking about when she mentioned 11 rak'ah? And a number of scholars say that this refers to what would be the tahajjud prayer, rather than the taraweh prayer. So the taraweh prayer would be after Isha, and the tahajjud prayer would come, later on in the night. And many scholars mention that this is maybe what she was referring to at that time. And regardless of this, when we look at the opinions of the schools of thought, we find the vast majority of scholars mention that one should pray 20 rak'ah, as the minimum. Imam Malik effectively mentions more than this, but they mention that one should pray 20 rak'ah. This is according to the vast majority of scholars. Now for us, the key point is not to get worried, not to get bogged down by the differences of opinion between the scholars or what different mosques are doing. The key point for you and I is the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, where he said that man salla ma'al imam, whoever prays with the imam, hatta yansarif kutiba lahu qiyamul layl, until the imam finishes, you will have the reward of the whole night. So whether your imam, your mosque you pray and prays 8, whether they pray 20, whatever it is, pray with the imam from the beginning until the end, and you will have the reward as if you have prayed the whole night. So the key point is not to leave early, to finish when the imam finishes, and then you will have the reward as if you have prayed the whole night. This is the key point for all of us, so that not to get bogged down into the differences of opinion or what one mosque is doing.